Guys, what up? Good evening. I'm down here going over the bookmap, our nice little liquidity tool that we use throughout the day to help navigate the price action. I'll go over briefly what bookmap is, what it does. I'll show you kind of how I use it and how I read this weird looking chart, right? So basically what bookmap is going to be level 4 data. That's what they refer to it. It's basically a combination of time and sales, pending order, liquidity. It combines all that together to give us a visual aid of where price is going. The best uses for bookmap that I have found is basically you want to see where there's resting liquidity, right? So we want to see where there's orders that are waiting to fill, orders that are waiting to buy. We want to see what's going on with market participants, if they're aggressively selling, aggressively buying, and bookmap helps us do all of that. So basically, I'll go over what the components of bookmap are. I'll go over some examples of how I work today, and I will try my best to show you bookmap running live for the after hour session to see if there's any kind of movement that we could monitor together. So to get started, right, what is bookmap? So I touched on its level 4 data. It's giving us basically a background into what the market is doing. Some of the things you're going to find on the bookmap are you're going to find you're going to find your heat zones, right? So basically, the hotter an area is, the more liquidity there is found there. So that means there's a lot of market participants that have a lot of orders there. So there's a lot of money tied up into positions at that level. And for the most part, you'll notice that price tends to magnetize to these levels, right? Either to sell a position out or to pick up a participant that wants to get in. The other thing you have here is you have these volume dots. That's their official name. I call them PAcmans. Basically, the reason I call them PAcmans is when this is live, you'll see that these bubbles are eating through liquidity. What they really are is these are aggressive market sells or market buys, right? So the red ones are market sells, green ones are market buys. And what I mean by that is whenever somebody sells at the bid, right, they're desperately trying to sell their position to get out. And whenever somebody slaps the ask, they're trying to desperately get in. So that's what the volume dots or the PAcmans are showing us. And yeah, let's get into it, right? So this is today's action on ES, right? So here you can kind of see orders that were transacted and orders that wasn't. You'll see it clearer when we go over a live session while it's moving, right? Because right now the action has passed, right? But at the open on ES, we were spiking down from pre-market, right? So we had some liquidity that was resting here pre-market. So I'll kind of give you guys a little visual, right? So this is all pre-market action. We had a market participant here that was waiting to get filled. So this was a big buy order that was waiting to get filled. As the price is consolidating kind of sideways, we start seeing that the market starts being attracted to that liquidity. So the job of market makers is to seek out where there's most liquidity. Up here we got some zones right pre-market, but nothing really substantial. Over here this guy was holding about 250 lots if I remember clearly. So what's the market going to do? The market's going to go and pick up that order, which we get here, right? Boom, market triggers this order. So it sucks up all this liquidity. The PAcman eats it. This person gets filled, and these people exit. So these people sell aggressively to fill this order. This order gets filled, we bounce up. As market opens, we head back to that same liquidity zone from pre-market, and the SPY starts, or the ES starts moving as it's going to move. As we go throughout the day, you see that the PAcmans will move where there's liquidity, right? So there's an orange zone here. PAcman comes, eats through that zone, and starts kind of retreating, starts eating through that zone. And you'll see that the price consolidates at places where there's heat zones, right? So we got some heat zone here, got some heat here. Here the PAcmans get aggressive, so buyers step in fully, right? Buyers are starting to bid this up, and the PAcmans start chewing through all this liquidity. We get to this liquidity section here. Buyers kind of give up, the PAcman gets exhausted, and now the PAcman's going to seek liquidity to the downside, which it does here. We get a little bounce, and it starts seeking out liquidity to the downside, which it goes down slightly past that big buy order pre-market. Again, it doesn't really do it justice when it's not moving live, but that's basically, in essence, what bookmap is, right? Bookmap is just showing you where liquidity is going. Perfect example of today how you could have caught a bounce, right? So we got some aggressive selling PAcmans onto the way down. They hit this liquidity zone at 39.75. They try to PAcman through it. They try to break through it. They fail, and we get an aggressive bounce. Why do we get an aggressive bounce? we had this guy waiting with a pulled order to fill, right? So this is where the most liquidity was found. After that guy got filled, there was not much liquidity left, right? There's a little zone at 39.65, but that popped up after this guy got filled. So there's no more liquidity to the downside. So what is going to happen? One, this guy just got filled. He's going to want to move the price up. And two, now we have this wall of liquidity at 4,000, which has been a zone that's been holding since Friday. So what happens? Now the PAcman says, all right, we're done to the downside. Let's start going up, eating to the upside. And that's what we can see happen, right? Throughout the day, right? PAcman bounces up, bounces between the zone. There's a support zone here of liquidity. So there's a buyer that every time this gets tapped to get bought up. We start moving up until the PAcman start attacking that wall. PAcman starts chewing through it, finally breaks it. We get a little retrace of the move, and then we break up to the upside. So the way we use bookmap basically is we use it in conjunction with our charts. So for example, this big buy up, so this liquidity tap happened at, if we zoom it in, it happened at 948. If you were to reference your ES charts, at 948 we had a super long wick down, which was that guy getting filled, and an immediate buy up, right? So it kind of ended kind of like a hammer, but it was really just a long-tailed candle. That's an indication of strength. We have a candle that basically moved up almost 5 points from its bottom wick. So that's an indication of strength, right? So you would assume, okay, this big buyer got filled. We got heat here at 39.75. I'm going to go long off of this zone around 39.75. And I'm going to ride the trend up with the PAcmans until we get to either 4,000 or to the next heat zone, which ended up being around 39.86. If you were to follow that trade, the ES went from around 39.80. It hit a high of 4,005. And literally the PAcmans are showing you it's going to do that, right? So here we got some PAcman action. That means the buyers are starting to smack the ass, trying to move the price up. We get to this liquidity zone. We start consolidating at this level for a while. Keep in mind that this is all 1 minute, so that's why it looks like it does it all day. But if you zoom out, it's a little more impressive. We consolidate this action the whole time. A wall is put up here to defend downside liquidity, right? A wall is put down here. People start buying aggressively. PAcmans take control, and we start breaking to the upside. You could have caught this move just by following the liquidity. Once this big buyer got filled, the price never revisited that low the rest of the session up until the end, which I'll go over as well. So the PAcman's chewing through all these walls. We start moving up. That would have been a play you could do, right? The spectacular play of the day was this right here. Well, this is one of them. This was at 10:58. At 10:58, we have been consolidating in a channel for the longest, right? We bounced from this liquidity here, we bounced from this liquidity there. Here you can see that a big participant put a big sell wall. So they wanted to stop the momentum. And the PAcmans were trying to get through that wall, but they failed. And as they fail, buyers lose confidence, which allows sellers to take over and target downside liquidity, which they did here. So at 10:58, we start getting banged down, right? This 39.91 area catches it as support. The sellers keep attacking this PAcman until they transact this. Buyer. They break down the support, and then we start moving to the downside. And then here we get some people to step in and move, and it moves back up. So basically, you want to use the bookmap in conjunction with your setups. Today, one of the things that made a fantastic short was this. So this is the action that we had right before we had that full-blown breakdown. So on my chart, I have 40.17 to 40.28 as a strong resistance zone, right? On the bookmap, this coincides with this zone here. This wall was massive when it was first put on there in the day, right? PAcmans are trying to go to that wall. Every time they get near that wall, they get smacked away, all right? We got that one instance here, 2, 3, and kind of 4, right? This wall was never threatened. What happens? Bulls lose their confidence. Sellers take over. They start banging this down. This, I'm going to try to zoom it into the 5 minute. There you go. This is what happens when bulls lose their confidence and aggressive selling action takes over. So this is, if you're in a short position, this is what you want to see, right? we got the PAcmans just continuously destroying downside liquidity. All these orders are getting filled, and that is not stopping sellers, right? So this person gets taken out, so that support is gone. This support starts getting hammered. We have a little bit of an H bounce here, right? Immediately what the bears do is they put a wall here to stop the momentum from going up. The bulls can't break down that wall. What does that mean? It means we're probably going to get more downside action, which you see here, right? Here we start breaking all the way down. We break down, and it was just a bloodbath at the end of the day. So basically that's how bookmap works, right? We look at where the zone is, we look at what the candles are doing, we make a determination of where price action is going to go. Keep in mind that the PAcmans will target where there's most liquidity found. This video is running mad long. Let me see if I can show you guys live. So for example, we'll zoom in here. This is currently how it's moving after hours, right? So this is currently now. We have PPI in the morning, so it's probably going to move kind of choppy. But here you can see, right? PAcman gets near the zone. We get some aggressive buyers to step in. We're kind of stuck in the zone. From this determination, what I can attest to, or what I can imagine happening is, if we get aggressive buyers to step in, they'll turn this PAcman. They'll get this PAcman to go and target this liquidity up here at 39.86, right? My bookmap is not showing live data. I don't know why it's paused. But they'll go target this upside liquidity here, right? As long as this little heat wall they have now holds. If this heat wall fails to hold, we can assume it's going to go to 39.70 and then target the liquidity at 39.66. If you take a look at the ES chart now, it is slightly on its way up. Right now it's at 39.79. I don't know. That's why. Pardon. The book is live over here. That's a little blooper for you guys. I forgot I rewinded this thing 12 hours. There we go. All right. So as you can see, we have a wall here at 39.82, right? What does that mean? More than likely what's going to happen is these PAcmans are going to seek this liquidity to the upside. They're going to smash this wall at 39.82. They're going to make their way to 39.84, which has been a substantial level for the last 2 days. And then it'll go to 39.85, right? 39.90 has 100 lots. More than likely, you'll see bears start putting up defenses here to kind of reject the price. If the PAcman fails to take this liquidity and go through, it'll probably pull down and go tap this liquidity down here at 39.72 to pick up these pending buyers. Keep in mind that there's a big event tomorrow, so more than likely we'll get some choppy action. So we can probably expect a range between 39.72 and 39.84. If you guys have any more questions, concerns, comments, please let me know. Video's kind of jumbled together. I didn't want to make it too long. I might do a part 2 to it if I can get some good action to record on the feed so I can kind of give you a recap on it. But that's basically the basics on bookmap and how I view it. Hope you guys find this helpful, and I will see you later.